New jobs. So this is the easiest time to negotiate, right? Because you haven't agreed to anything, you're not locked into anything. You have the least information, however, from which to do so, since you don't know the job range. So you can research that. You can get it on salary.com. But the key is to know what you want, know what you're willing to take. Don't disclose what you're making. People ask, or they used to ask, but disclose what you're making. Don't do that. Instead, say what you want. So when people say, hey, what are you making? Say, hey, what I want is this, what I'm looking for, what I believe I'm worth. Uh, and in some markets, this is important. New law requires that companies actually disclose the pay range if you ask them. So try asking that. What does this job pay? What is your pay range? Companies now sometimes have to actually answer that, and you can get the pay range and then, ask for the top of it. So there you go. Large and small companies are different. We'll talk about that more. At a large company, you're going to be negotiating with a recruiter, not the hiring manager. Big companies. Um, let's talk about getting a job at a big company, how to get paid there. So big companies have human resource departments. Big problem with that. They have a lot of rules. They have compensation policies and what they call compensation experts. Um, so what your boss can actually do for you is going to be controlled in part by those rules. So if you work at a big company, understand what you're going to get paid. And generally, you can get a raise, but there's going to be limits on it. And your job has a pay range or comp range. Find out what it is. Go find out. You can't ask internally. I talked about that law in California. The bizarre thing is, you have to tell people in California, as I understand it, you have to tell people what the pay range is when you're hiring them. You never have to tell them again. So yeah, yay California, perfect law. But you can ask around. You can use internal ways to get that. All right. Look, bottom line is the job market's a market, which means if you price yourself out of it, the company will go buy cheaper. So anyway, all right, getting promoted, and I see the questions are in. We'll take those as soon as we're through the slides. The best time to make big gains is when you're being promoted, other than new jobs. Because if you're going to a new company, there's no limits on what you can ask for. You may not get it. When you're being promoted, you can have a big change in what you're paid. It's a lot better than the annual raise, which is usually pretty small no matter what you do. And so this is the time to go for the big comp is up your value, move into a new job. A new job inside a company is the closest thing to a new job outside of a company. There's a new salary range. You're going to have to find out what it is and then try and get to the top of it. There's a new total comp range. Total comp is all the other stuff like stock and benefits that goes with salary. We can answer what those are. You can also usually get out of cycle comp ranges. So get companies get a whole annual cycle where they do raises. But if you get promoted, that's a chance to get a raise and then get another one on the annual cycle. So it's a chance to double dip. This goes with growing value. All right. Whole other broadcasts. I've done whole other broadcasts on getting promoted, so you can go watch those in the archives. But the core requirement is the same: be more skilled, be more able, be more valuable. Small companies. Small companies have a lot more flexibility. They also often have less money. They have a lot. You join them because they have opportunities for growth and upside. And the good news is there's usually no formal HR with a big list of company policies that CEO or boss has to follow. So there's also little notion though of levels of promotion or even reviews. So if you want to get raised at a little company, you're going to have to be ambitious and go ask and go make your case because they don't have a system for it. So this is for you. If you're at a smaller company, you've got to, as opposed to working the system, you've got to create the circumstances. All right. The good news is the CEO or executives can probably do whatever the hell you want. And yes, I do upload these to YouTube. So Benjamin Forever, yes, they're all on YouTube under the Easy Coach. Thanks for asking. So the CEO or executives can basically pay you whatever they decide you're worth. You just have to go convince them of what you're worth, and you don't have a bunch of HR rules. So that's how a small company tends to work. You also sometimes get personal guilt trips. When I was at a small company in the past, I was due for a raise, and the chief financial officer came to me, and he actually told me this. I kid you not. He said, Ethan, it's like we're crossing a desert, and we got one camel, and there's only so much water on the camel, and we got to get across the desert, and you're asking for more water. So, yeah, I don't know where camels came in. I just wanted to get paid, but that's kind of the thing you'll see at a small company is people trying to guilt trip you into working cheap for the company mission. So don't do that, right? Like you got to push back and get what you're worth.